the meeting to order. First on the agenda, Christopher Krantz. Kearns, K-U-R-A-N-Z.
Public table.
Okay, we'll hold on. Douglas Parker. Douglas Parker? Yeah, come on.
So they're here for an appearance, so she usually underlined it.
Have a seat. It's a new license, and for the Rockstar, and you put down, you've never been ticketed. Let's see. What do we have?
Did I miss it now?
For some reasons.
You have a blank page?
Oh, it's on it. It's clicking on itself.
Pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, you can call in front if we have something. When we say, we're all the way back to 1978. It doesn't go away,
That's fine.
but because of that is the reason why that you're called in front of
Yeah,
us,
Mr.
so.
Chair.
All in, us.
Yeah, given the age of the one conviction, I'll move for approval.
Second.
Need a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Now it's gonna go in front of the council tonight, for the whole council to vote on it, and then you can pick up the license tomorrow,
Between 11 and 3.
between 11 and 3, and after that, it gets mailed to you,
All right.
okay?
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
It's nice and easy.
Jeffrey Wees? Wesick, what? Wesick. Okay, you even corrected this. Okay. Okay, we have another new license.
Yeah.
This is for JC's.
Yeah.
Okay, you put down two things as far as ever in ticket arrested or convicted.
Yeah, my felony and OWI, but you're looking at all my misdemeanors and cutting.
We're looking at everything.
Okay.
We look at
I
everything.
wasn't sure when I put it down, so
And
I put down the major ones.
Well, it's quite extensive
Yep.
and a large number of things. You know, operating after revocation is just all over there.
Yeah.
And now, you know, people ask us, why do you care about the driving record operating after revocation? When you get your driver's license, there's a lot of rules and regulations that go along with it, the same way if we give you a bartender license.
Correct.
And by looking at this, you don't care about the driving rules and regulations. Why are you gonna care about the rules and regulations that we have if we give you a bartender's license?
I already currently hold the bartending license and have in another city. When I applied here, I did not have mine in Cudahy renewed, but I do currently have it there. And before I had it there, I followed all the rules. I took all the tests. Never got a drunk driving after bartending. Them were all when I was young and stupid. I was a teenager. Now I'm 33. Like, a lot of that stuff is old.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Alderman Haas.
Yeah, to address your one argument that a lot of this was when you're young and stupid and a teenager and it's old. No, that's not correct. It's in 2016, operating while intoxicated.
That's- I hit a wall.
Four operating after revocations in 2015, all in 1 year, all in separate incidents. This exhibits to me an individual who chooses or refuses to obey the law. That's a problem.
I don't have $7,000 in my back pocket to give them for those tickets.
Well, then you can't drive a car.
I understand that, but you still have to get around, don't you?
You can take the bus.
You could,
Okay.
correct?
Mr. Chair, I move for denial.
Second. Mr. Chair.
Motion and a second, further discussion?
I'll also add that I'm a bit disturbed by this record. It does show a bit about your character as an individual, even though some of this is old. I mean, the battery, prowling, resisting officers, all the OWIs, operating while intoxicated, operating after revocation. This just isn't a record I can support to have a bartender working in our community.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Alderman Weigel?
And you currently live in Cudahy?
Yes.
And you had a bartending license in Cudahy?
I have my bartending license in
And
Cudahy right now.
do you have a driver's license right now?
Yes, I do.
I think the record shows that you revoked.
No,
No.
records are wrong. I just finished all this up like a month ago, so
Oh,
it's all
okay.
going through it, yes.
Okay.
The DMV is forcing me to retake my driver's license test, which I have it all. I've done the written part so far, and now I'm going to do the driver's part, but I do not drive as of right now.
So you don't have your
I
license?
do have my temps, yes,
Oh,
and I have the breathalyzer in the car,
okay.
because I have to do a year with that for the breathalyzer, and I have to have SR22 insurance as well, which I'm currently getting. That's
Why don't
fine.
you just bartend in Cudahy?
I do bartend in Cudahy, but this is the other bar. I bartend for JC's Blue Collar Pub in Cudahy, so this is the west location.
Just to articulate some of the concerns. So one thing that was brought up was the record under 12504 sub 5 sub B, that's habitual law offender, is grounds for denial. So just want to make sure that for the record.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Sorry. Ashley,
Duco.
thank you.
Sorry, no one ever
Thank you.
gets it right.
I didn't get it wrong because I didn't say anything. Didn't get it right.
Oh,
No, have a seat. Okay, this is a new license. Stella's Palace.
Yes.
Hey, once again, you put down, oh, I see, you have your driver's record. Okay, you're the one with the driver's record
yep.
attached. Quite extensive. And you do have your driver's license?
Yes, I actually just got it reinstated. So,
As of when?
2 days ago. Let me check the Amelia, come here.
That's,
Because I had the receipt in my phone.
oh, okay,
So-
don't worry, that's
Okay.
okay, that's okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and sit down. Sorry.
Sorry. But you got the, all these things are relatively current over the last few years. A lot of the driving law suspended. You're in a telephone while driving, construction zone.
Yeah, I was on a phone with the case. So,
So, do you have any comments or motion from the floor? We have a motion?
well, I know it's not an excuse, but I used to have a Mustang, and that thing like nickel and dimed me. I got a new car, so since I had a new vehicle, I haven't had any driving except for the ticket driving on the phone. So I used my tax return to pay off all the tickets and whatnot that I had. I just didn't have the money. I was on a payment plan and stuff. So once I got my tax return, I just used that whole lump sum just to pay off everything that I had.
Okay. Is there anything, anybody else further? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair?
Alderman Haas.
Yeah, and again, we just had a discussion. You do have a valid driver's license now. You're no
Yep.
longer suspended. Okay, well, with that, this is a record of frequently driving while suspended. However, and that's something that we have a problem with
Right.
frequently. However, given that Ms. Duco is now has a valid driver's license and is working to get back on track, I'm going to move approval.
Second. Second, if you didn't hear me.
Yes, I heard you. Is there any further discussion?
Clogged.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No.
So you're saying
Yes,
I'm a little advanced. Huh? Okay, so now
Thank
it goes
you.
at council floor, it's 4-1 here, there's 5 other members that have to vote, so.
Okay, so I just go wait in there then?
if you want
Okay.
to, yeah.
Alright, thank you.
We didn't give him the speech yet.
Go
Thank
ahead.
you.
Next guy.
Okay,
Well, maybe not.
Christina Mercer?
Yeah.
Okay, we have another new license here, Brass Monkey, 3 OWI.
Mayor Devine?
Mr. Chair.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Was looking for mayor.
I'm looking ahead of myself. I was thinking of the.
You wanna talk to him right in the middle
Mr.
of our
Chairman,
meeting?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Um,
Alderman Weigel.
I'm gonna move for denial based on the record. I'm seeing 3 OWIs,
Discussion.
one 12 years ago, one 8 years ago, one 4 years ago. Looks like she's due. You know, it
Now,
just,
hopefully you're not
yeah,
due.
hopefully you're not due,
No,
but
we're-
it's, no,
hopefully you don't have any more.
no,
But
yeah.
yeah, Mr.
Alderman
Chair,
Allis.
thank you. Sorry. Yeah. 3 OWIs is a problem for us and for our committee, and unfortunately, that's where you're at. You've shown that as a bartender, you're going to need to make choices for people to cut people off. You've shown that in the past that you haven't made good choices for yourself, and that is where it becomes a problem for our committee.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Sorry. Jessica Cruz?
Janessa.
Janessa? I'm sorry. Please take a seat. Another new bartender license? Heartbreakers.
Yeah.
You put down no.
I thought it was like a license for getting ticketed for some bartending or liquor.
Well, it says right on it, have you ever been ticketed? It doesn't specify what for.
Okay.
And a number of things over the last 3 years, basically the same in all driving.
Yeah.
And so, and you do have a license right now.
Yes.
Here.
Alderman Weigel.
I'm gonna move for denial based on an incomplete application.
What is that?
I just have to wait.
We just,
Okay.
do I have a second?
Second for discussion.
Mr. Chair?
Alderman Weigel.
When you filled out the application, you signed the bottom of it, and it says, "I declare under penalty of law that all the above information is true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Incomplete or incorrect information may lead to denial of this license." That's right above your signature.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. 'Cause
Yeah.
I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were talking about tickets from 2014.
And 2017,
When
and 2016, and 2015.
When I talked to the clerk, the lady called me about this situation. She said it was a ticket from 2014. Because I had a bartending license last year from here.
New.
This says on here, new. Says a renewal or new?
It's a renewal.
Or,
No.
our
So
clerk
what
is saying no.
Once they're expired.
Oh, yeah, so you had one that was expired,
No.
you had one that was expired,
Right.
and then you came to get a new one. So that's not a renewal, that's getting a new one. Yeah, once you let it expire, so you're starting all over.
Okay. I
Okay.
didn't know that. I'm sorry.
I have a motion and a second to deny.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Rowe.
I'm just curious, Attorney Sherwin, what does GDL passenger violation mean? Don't know. Oh, okay.
What was your 2014 thing, if you want to tell us? GDL passenger.
I honestly don't know.
Isn't that a graduated driver's license where you
Oh,
were
you know what?
a
That might
temporary
have been.
permit?
That
Might have
might have
too many
been
people in the
from
car.
middle school. Yeah, they took my license.
Well, not middle
away.
school, hopefully high school.
Well,
Not that you're
Don't-
driving in middle school.
Yeah.
no. Well, they took it before I was able to even get my license. I had to do a whole bunch of community service.
You did something
or
bad as a
something.
minor and it delayed you getting your
Yes.
driver's license.
Yeah, correct.
Is there any further discussion? The motion is to deny. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
No.
So we have a 3-2. Now it goes to the council floor. And we'll have discussion on the council floor and there's 5 other alder people who have to vote on it, so.
Sounds great.
You may wanna stick around.
Okay, I will.
Jordan Baxter. application for Applebee's.
Mr. Chair,
Allen Waggle.
you have one OWI on your record. You also have an accomplice to an armed robbery. Can you tell us what that was about?
Well, basically, me and my boyfriend, I worked at the bank, and he came in and robbed me, and I did my time for it.
Okay.
I've recently been out since 2016. I'm on probation. I'm doing very well. The OWI is the only violation I've had since I have 2 jobs. My GM just became the district manager of Applebee's, wants me to move up in the company. And in order to do that, the last thing I have to do is get my bartending license.
And as Alderman Haas said earlier, so you're getting a license strictly as a matter of form for work? Do you actually bartend now, or?
No, I can't without a license.
Well, I
but
understand.
they-
Well, you could work if there was a licensed bartender there.
Well, I work there.
Yeah.
I serve it, but I'm not an actual bartender behind the bar, but they want me to move up to a shift lead manager and bartend for them.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, I need the license.
Mr. Chair.
Alden May.
Nick, can
Yeah.
you get a bartender's license while you're on probation?
Depends what the conditions of probation are. If there's absolute sobriety, you shouldn't be handling alcohol. That could be a problem. I don't know what the terms. I think I looked up on CCAP this one to try to see what was going on. I know the information the committee's provided says there's something from Greendale, but there was no disposition reported. So I tried looking into that. I didn't see anything on CCAP. I don't know where that's coming.
It's a federal felony, so it doesn't pop up on CCAP. And I asked my
Understood.
probation officer if I could get a bartending license while on active probation. He said yes.
Okay, anybody else?
Do I have a motion?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No.
Once again, it goes to the council, and, there's 5 more people that can vote.
Do I stick around?
You can, or it's up to you, whether you want to or not.
You may want to. It may be worth your while. If somebody's on the fence, they might want to. One of the other 5 members may want to ask you a question.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, Jennifer Schroeder. Jennifer Lynn Schroeder.
It's your second non-appearance.
That is her second one?
I move for denial based on 2 non-appearances.
Second.
The motion is second. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Anthony Burnett. See? It says you need the proof of a beverage server course. Did you take that course?
Yeah, but I don't think I have that. I'm pretty sure it's at my job still.
Okay, you're gonna be, Wyoming? You give it to them? You need a copy of that, right, for the application? So,
Mr. Chair, I'll move for approval, subject to necessary requirements. Then,
Second.
subject to getting that beverage server course proof.
okay, we have a motion and a second.
Does the committee want to put a date on that?
In 30 days.
Okay.
10 days.
10 days.
How about the next meeting? 15
Sure.
days. 15 days.
15 days. I move for approval within 15 days. So
Do I hear
Subject to
20?
necessary requirements in 15 days.
Okay, and, you second it in 15 days. Okay, is there any further discussion? You understand?
What exactly do I need again?
The copy of,
The responsible server course
So like the serve safe?
Yeah,
course?
serve safe
Okay.
course.
Okay.
in the clerk's office.
when you pick up your
Versus
license.
When I
Yeah.
filled out everything the first time I came, I'm pretty sure I gave that to them then there, and then they like copied it.
so you're saying you don't have it?
No,
No, they
I
have- you have it.
another
Okay.
copy.
They keep it in a file at
Yeah,
work.
but I'm
Right.
pretty sure I gave it to them the first time I came to like apply for this.
Well, it's not in here,
Okay.
and you said it's not in here, so just,
You got 15
Yeah,
days
so-
to bring it in.
Yeah.
15.
Not just 10.
Can I bring it tomorrow?
You can
Yeah,
bring it
whenever.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, then we have, Manny's Kitchen is closed. They're no longer in business? Ann? Or just
He's right
someone-
here.
Oh, there he is. I got a note here said it has been closed. Okay, what's going on with you?
Yeah, last year I tried to sell a business.
Right.
One party was interested, and then later, recently he came back to me and then he said he wanted to partner with me for a while, and then after some time he wants to take it over. So want to continue operating the business. I work with him. So this morning I stopped by. The main problem one was all the inspections were done, but the building inspection was holding on my file because of the sign fee I didn't pay. But that letter goes to the owner of the building rather than to the business owner. So I didn't receive that letter. So this morning I went and talked to them, and then I took care of that one. Because now we are into the 2018, I had to pay for the 2017 property taxes. So I took care of that one, and then the registration certificate, it's valid for the 2 years until 2019. The health inspection report is also there, but she wanted actual report. So I'm going to talk to
Actual, what's that?
instead of this one stating this letter, she wanted an actual health inspection report from the inspector.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk to the inspector and then take care of that one. With that, I think all the requirements will be completed. So most probably this week I'll take care of this one and then I can ship it.
But are you gonna open the restaurant up?
Yeah, right, yeah.
You're gonna open once you get everything set.
Right.
Okay, any questions? Okay, we're just gonna hold this until, it's just a discussion. We'll hold this until we see that you're open and everything's squared away.
Yeah,
Okay? Okay, thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, we're going back to the,
Public table,
public table.
Mr. Carranza.
Oh,
come on
yes,
up.
I'm here.
Did you call it earlier?
Yes, we did.
Sorry, I was in the wrong one.
He was in the wrong room.
Yeah, funny, he just said that.
Sorry.
Mr.
Okay,
Chair,
all right.
is this wine and only, beer and wine only, or liquor also?
Well, initially, when we were, envisioning all this beer and wine only, but they are no longer available. So we're gonna get a liquor license so we can serve beer and wine. At this point, we don't have a definitive answer on the liquor. It wasn't initially part of our thought process, but I think, we're excited by the option, actually. We didn't even know if it was an option when we first started to plan all this. So, we think it can only add value to the whole situation.
Yeah, Bloody Mary's on brunch.
Yeah, especially for, I think it's $100 more a year or something. Yeah.
Okay.
We were just happy that we weren't completely shut down on that
Now, are you the owner of the building?
as
Also?
well, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And,
And you're gonna be the agent for the corporation?
Yes,
Okay.
I am the agent for the
So you're doing
corporation.
all the hiring and training as
We have
bartenders and-
we hope to be an equity operating partner. And I explained this to a few people. And it's, it's also part of we received some grant monies, or we're getting approved for that. So it's an employment situation, but hopefully within 5 years, if he meets certain criteria, he earns 2% equity in the business, up to 10% over 5 years. So I'm not the person that's on site operating, no. That person is.
So they're gonna be the agent for the license? No.
No, I
You
am
are.
that.
You
Yes.
are.
okay.
Move approval. I'll second it.
Okay, the only question I have is, what's a gastropub?
I think generally terminology would be like upscale food in a pub setting. Gastronomic, gastro, short for gastronomic, I think. Don't quote me on that. Fancy food in a bar. How about that? Fancy
Okay.
food in a bar.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, then we have item number 30.
Good name.
Item number 30 on tonight's agenda.
Move approval subject to necessary requirements.
Second.
Is there any further discussion?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And 31, this is for a special event, at the Buzzards. Fundraiser,
Time drain, 4 till
dart tournament.
11 indoors.
Parking lot darts? Move approval, subject to necessary requirements.
Second.
It's not lawn darts.
Is there any, not in the parking lot. Is there any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. I believe that's it.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
All right, and the Administration and Finance Committee will come to order. And starting out with item H, which is our joint referral, request from the interim director of Public Works to extend the temporary appointment of Dave Young, the
Move
position.
for approval.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. And item 9 is an ordinance to amend the City of West Allis salary schedule establishing the salary of a tourism and event coordinator.
Move approval.
Motion from Alderman Weigel, and is there a second?
Second for discussion.
Second from Alderman May. Go, Alderman May.
Rebecca, what was the revision? I could not find it on there. It's basically a new position, isn't it?
There's two positions, so there's the creation of the tourism and event coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
and then also the change to the communication specialist from a non-exempt grade H to an exempt grade J to communication strategist. So if you, it's under part 1 of the ordinance.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Alderman Chabusky.
Okay, what's this? It just seems odd that we're hiring somebody for this. It's a part-time job, correct?
The tourism and
Right.
event coordinator, yes. It's something that's gonna be working with our tourism commission and our branding initiative and things like that. It was part of the 2018 budget, that was adopted by the council.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Alderman Weigel.
Just by way of background, ideally, we're gonna see more special events being put on within the community, the farmer's market, other locations. One of our signature events, or one of the bigger events in the city, Forks and Corks, no longer has an entity to run it, as the Chamber of Commerce is no longer with us. So, we're seeing this as an opportunity to help raise the city's image up. And right now, these kinds of special events are kind of handled, well, obviously the bid handles the things in the downtown, but there are other locations outside of the bid's jurisdiction that deserve, and I won't say deserve, but are fitting to have special events.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Alderman May.
And it kind of goes to number 10, but it ties to number 9. The request to fill this position as part-time said 30 to 35 hours a week. That seems a lot more than part-time.
Well-
Is this just a seasonal position?
No, this is gonna be, we have more events than just in the summertime. They're year-round, and we're hoping to, I mean, we have the Christmas parade, we have in the wintertime, so it's not just
Mhm.
summer events. And we're hoping, as Alderman Weigel said, to grow different events throughout the year, so.
Okay. So are we authorizing for 30 hours or for 35? I guess it's number 10, hypothetically, but.
I think we're authorizing for 30 to
30.
35.
And then they'll be paying a portion of their health insurance then, a greater portion
If
because
they
it's
would
not
take the
full-time.
health insurance. And this is funded through through non-general fund revenues.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
do we have a particular person in mind for this already, or are we gonna post
We're
it
gonna
as
be
vacancy?
recruiting for
Recruiting
this
it?
position.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 10, communication from the city administrator requesting approval to fill a new part-time position. Now that
Move
we have
approval.
that position.
Second.
Motion and a second. And any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 11, a communication from city administrator transmitting a report on recommendations from the city's benefit consultant regarding post-65 Medicare retiree health plan options.
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Rebecca Grill, I'm the city administrator. Being cognizant of the fact this is a recess meeting, we want to be brief in our communication, but I just want to give a little background. We had talked with the Administration and Finance Committee in December regarding an option to look at Medicare Advantage plans for our over 65 retirees. We also talked again on January 2nd, and then on January 8th, the committee advised us to move forward looking at a possible delayed effective date of May through July. So we have also had this before our Employee Benefit Committee on February 15th and also on March 1st. March 1st, there was a recommendation by the Employee Benefit Committee, which is what you have before you. We have representatives from Horton here this evening to go over these things with you real quickly, and we'll also be going over them again in detail on the 20th. So with that, I would ask Rayanne to come forward.
And before I go that far though, Rebecca, the plan is to be a special administration and finance meeting on March 20th at 6 p.m. before our council meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening.
Go ahead.
Does everyone have the report and recommendation that was sent? Otherwise, I've got extra copies.
It's not loading on my phone.
I've seen
if you
it.
have one.
No.
And I'll take one.
This is the updated one.
Thank you very much.
So we've been tasked, the Horton Group was tasked pretty much from day one to look at finding some alternatives regarding post-65 retiree health plans. And there was a need to find these alternatives because the retirees on the current self-insured plan, as you may remember from the December meeting, have an extremely high medical loss ratio. The premium that they're currently paying is not offsetting the actual cost of the program. We have a high OPEB liability that's associated with these escalating costs, and in the future, administrative needs are really becoming very challenged and limiting our ability to find great third-party administrators, simply for the fact that we have 54 different health plans that the city administers, because each retiree got to leave with the schedule of benefits that they had. So the big question before us then became, once we determined that there were ways to mitigate some of these rising costs and to make sure that we were trying to make the increases a little bit more sustainable, the question came from city staff and from members of the Employee Benefit Committee, can these programs really completely replace the city's self-insured plan in all of its detail? And my recommendation, my professional recommendation, is that there are certain things that we need to consider when we're looking at replacing some of these programs, and things that we need to be cognizant of and aware of, but not necessarily worried about when it comes to a replacement factor. So for example, health insurance changes over time. The things that Medicare covers literally change on an annual basis. Prescription drug formularies, drugs come and go, they move tiers, they become reclassified as therapeutic, and more cost-effective advantages come into play. So what I believe that people have been, quote, promised is a schedule of benefits, i.e. deductibles, whether or not they have co-insurance or some co-payments, and not necessarily every little detail of a covered expense, because the example I use with the Employee Benefit Committee is, you used to only be able to get Benadryl with a prescription. Now obviously that's available over the counter, you no longer need a prescription, it's not covered by health plans. So we have some things that people have indicated are not covered under these Medicare Advantage plans. That's absolutely true, but there are things that are not covered by Medicare, and that's the gold standard. So you can always do better, you can't do worse. So again, in my professional opinion, we would be well within our boundaries to establish a high-level Medicare Advantage plan, with acknowledgement that there are certain things that we're going to be able to do better on, and certain things that are going to change. So the ultimate recommendation, and I'm going to kind of skip to the end here because I know that you've all seen the report, and I don't want to bore you with all the details, but we're looking at recommending a Medicare Advantage plan that is would be administered by Humana. They gave us an 18-month rate guarantee, so from July 1st of 2018 through December 31st of 2019, we have a solid rate. That rate will save the retirees in mass in that population over $618,000, saving the city that amount and then more due to some other considerations that we've talked about in the Employee Benefit Committee. The enhancements to the program, so the things that the retirees will be getting that are better, we'll be able to give them a much broader network for their consideration. So the way Humana has this listed, it's called a passive Medicare network. What this means is that any physician that accepts Medicare assignment would now be in the directory, so to speak. Over 95% of all physicians in the United States and Puerto Rico accept Medicare assignment. So we feel that their network would be broader than it is right now under Anthem. The second thing that we'd be giving them is this is a 100% medical program, meaning that there are no co-payments, no deductible, no co-insurance. So this is truly going to be better than what the majority of the retirees are experiencing today. We've got an annual eye exam, we've got an annual hearing exam, we've got a $250 hearing aid allowance. So enhancements to that program. We also, the one thing that we are doing that's positive, but also has that connotation of some give-ups, with regard to the prescription drug program, it is Humana's most robust formulary. It covers all lifestyle medications, it covers all the specialty medications, but the co-payments for those items are different than what some of the retirees may be experiencing today. We feel the offset of approximately $1,600 on average for what every individual retiree will be saving is well worth the change in some of those prescription drug copays. So again, all the prescription drugs they're able to get today are still covered. All the categories are covered. It's just at what copayment. By not having any copayments on the medical items, we feel that that's going to more than offset some of the changes to the prescription drug copays. Humana has also given us recently, they've had a little tweak to their prescription drug copays. They're willing to lower the generic tier from $15 to $12 with no change in rate, and to lower our specialty program to $75 rather than $100, and that's a 5% up to a maximum. So we've lowered that maximum. Also, there are several additional things that I, in my recommendation, I point out, get into some more details. There are a number of things that Humana offers as a Medicare Advantage plan that the retirees had before the city switched to Anthem. Some of these will be coming back in a much greater way. So they would have the Go Through 65 program, which is a health and wellness program, under which if a retiree does the right things, I get my annual exam, my hearing exams, my dental exams, etc., I can actually earn money in the form of Amazon gift cards, and I can shop them all. So just by being physically fit, doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing, I can have that. Silver Sneakers was a program that the retirees had given up when we switched to Anthem. This is free gym memberships if they go. I can go on and on. There's at home meals if a retiree is coming home from the hospital. There's up to 10 days of meals that are literally delivered to their house. There's at home counseling for chronic medical conditions. We have a special team of dedicated Humana representatives, as well as your team at Horton, which will be taking these things on instead of the city for any kind of claim questions, any kind of questions about customer service issues, etc. So the big things, though, is that Humana is a nationally recognized carrier. We did look at some Medicare supplement programs, which would have worked much like the city's plan today. You have Medicare primary, and then a secondary carrier fills in. And that's not necessarily a household recognized name. This was United American. Not everybody knows that name. Almost everyone, all the providers know Humana. It's going to be a nationally and in some cases internationally recognized carrier, and it's one ID card. So Medicare Advantage really takes the place of both Medicare and the city's self-insured health plan. Being fully insured, some calculations were done on, again, the savings. The city would also be experiencing, so the retirees are $618,000 just on the premium, and this premium is set for 18 months. We would obviously be looking at the city, if they remain on your self-funded health insurance program, we'd be looking at another rate increase for these retirees on 3/1 of 19. We won't have to be concerned with this until 1/1 of 20. And if there were 20% increases on the Medicare Advantage plan year over year, starting on 1/1/20, it would be after 1/1/2022 that we would get back to the rates we're currently paying. So the city's gonna be looking at 3.5 years, as are the retirees, about 3.5 years of approximate savings. The second thing is we worked really, really hard with Anthem to ask what would happen is if in mid-year if we took off 396 retirees off the current medical program. They are willing to not change their stop loss rates and to let us take the premium and not pay that any longer. This is a really big concession on their behalf. So that's another $449,000 for the city. Then last but not least, we're looking at the premium savings over and above what the city is currently paying out in claim costs that isn't being subsidized by the premiums that the retirees over 65 are paying. That is $1,252,000 this year alone. So, and the city would be giving up a Medicare Part D subsidy that we're currently earning at about $350,000 a year. So the net savings to the city is $1,969,847 over the next 18 months. So we are strongly recommending that we go forward with this. The challenge and the reason we are really desiring council support is that this is a total replacement plan. So we will not be allowed as a city when we first offer this to continue to offer the retirees the option of the self-insured health plan. It's a total replacement for that population. We've looked with the Employee Benefit Committee what would happen if after the 18 months some folks came forward and indicated that they weren't satisfied with the move. They'd rather pay whatever rates were established to come back. At that point, Humana has mentioned as long as that's less than 10% of the population, they would allow it. My recommendation at that time would be if we were to reopen the city's self-funded insurance plan, it would be the plan that the actives have instead of running 50 different programs for retirees.
All right.
Mr. Chair?
Alderman Weigel is first.
Currently, how many over 65s are we talking about right now?
We have 396 individuals, so right now it may not look like that because we have 97 couples.
Right.
So you have to double that, so you're looking at literally the population, because these are individual rates.
Yeah, and so the 10% rule is gonna, on the 390?
Right, correct.
And how many of them are gonna be upset about this? Once we've educated them and they know all the details.
You know, I think that it depends on how you look at anything, and I think that healthcare is really very personal. So to be very fair and honest, if I'm a person that I'm a high utilizer of prescription drugs, this may really challenge me in terms of some of the new co-payments. If I was paying $0 for generic and now I'm paying $12. I might be taking a look at that, but hopefully we're looking at that in the ratio of I also have a $1,600 annual premium savings, and that's just for me. My spouse may have that same $1,600, or so we may be looking at a different calculation. We have to ask the retirees to do that personal math.
And you said, and the other thing is doctors. We're not telling. You said 95% of the doctors in the United States would be in
taking
this plan.
Medicare assignment.
So we're not going to have anybody saying, I can't go to my doctor.
Correct, and I think the really beautiful piece in this is if I choose to be a snowbird and I'm in Florida 6 months out of the year, I don't have to worry about being in the Aurora only program and figuring out where I'm supposed to go when I'm not in Wisconsin.
Alderman May?
Yes, in addition to this, I believe there's also some savings in management and time that our city staff will no longer having to be managing all these claims, along with their provider. And then I think one of our goals is that to come out of this, there will be better rates and premium rates for our actives in 2019 as well. So that's not realized in that close to $2 million figure. So that's why this is our recommendation out of committee.
Thank you.
Seems like a win-win-win.
Keeping in mind, we'll discuss this more on the 20th, but any other discussion issues? All right, well, we'll hold this until the 20th then.
Thank you.
And thank you. And item 11, nope, that's what we just did. Item 11. Item 12, communication from the city administrator transmitting a copy of list of interim successors.
Move to place on file.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And item 13 is
For approval.
Second.
a motion for approval and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 14, communication.
For approval.
Thank you.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Can I have a motion to place number 15 on file?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And then we need to go into closed session. And I will read the closed session. Please take notice that the Administration and Finance Committee of the City of West Allis will meet at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter today at City Hall to vote on a motion to convene in closed session to discuss the collective bargaining matters with the West Allis Firefighters Union and take such further action as may be necessary and appropriate in such a matter. A closed session for the above purpose is authorized pursuant to the provisions of Wisconsin Statute Section 19.851 C, E, and G. We have a motion and a second, and we'll take a roll call vote. Alderman Rope.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Alderman Chapleski.
Aye.
Alderman Weigel.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We're in closed session.